Hello, I'm Sybil Harmony, an intuitive, a medium, and a healer. And this is a video about the elemental spirits. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about angels and how they relate to, and the wise ones or the ascended masters. I'm already starting to channel a little bit. Sending you lots of love. Okay, so this is, I want to talk a little bit about my history with the elementals, and then um, how to connect with them better and how to manifest with them. Okay. So they're also really angry about the environment. There's a lot of environmental things coming up today. Big fires, big fire elementals in LA. It can be water elementals. A lot of the elementals are pretty angry. Let's back up a minute here. If you notice my voice is going up a little bit, I easily channel elementals. I saw them as a child. I would be, the minute I got home from school, it'd be shoes off and I'd be outside till way past dark. I lived in a wooded area. And so I would see them, I would play with them. I mostly could see them out of the corner of my eye, or I just had a knowing that they, or I would see them in my mind's eye. Now I kind of see them as sparkly flashes of light and then visions of them in my mind's eye. I would hear them, and I always have connected with nature, animals. Oh, there's the purple orb, the Divine Mother here. So that's an amazing spiritual phenomena, but okay. I'm not a technical person. I'm very dyslexic. You frequently will see spelling errors and all kinds of mistakes in my recordings. I don't even edit. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm just a healer and a medium and an intuitive here to help people. So anyway, okay, that is light phenomenon that is unexplained here. Well, it's explained to me because I have a belief in spirit and energy that is not necessarily fact-based or allowed to happen. But now we're in a time when everything's changing and different. So anyway, back to what I was saying about the elementals. So yes, I would see them and play with them as a child, and they looked to me kind of like Disney characters. Sometimes they looked like flowers or trees. The older tree spirits could look kind of Native American. When I look into a tree or feel into a tree or sit with a tree, I start to see the being. Sometimes around my area, they're kind of Native American. The Native American go back here hundreds of years. So but the apple tree in my backyard now has a blonde-haired young man spirit, which I've seen before. So all the flowers, the trees, animals, plants, even the sun and the moon and the stars all have spirit guides or beings within them. They're all alive. Crystals are alive. That's why I love using herbal medicines, essential oils. I remember the first time I opened a bottle of essential oil, these little spirits came out and went, these little lights. And I was like, oh my God. It was so really cool. So I see them clairvoyantly. Probably other people wouldn't see them, although you can see this light. Anyway, so the elementals are usually very happy, fun, and excited and playful. And so my energy is really up and playful because that's a good way to connect with them. They really kind of stay away from people who are very serious. And if you don't believe in them, they'll also stay away because it hurts them when people don't believe them. It energetically can damage them. So they will stay far away from you if you don't believe. I mean, if you have like a mustard seed of belief or a little bit, if you're kind of open, they may come around, particularly if you're playing music, partying. They like a party. They actually like alcohol, which I don't drink anymore. A lot of people who have elemental spirit guides may have drinking or substance abuse issues, or they're movie stars, they're rock stars, they're the center of attention, they're the troubled kid, they're they're people who love pets, people who are weird and different, people who are really connected with nature. Okay, so let's go back to what I was talking about with as a child. So as a child, I was connected with them, and I'm also connected with them through past lives. And I don't say that to brag about it, but just so that you can better understand me. And I know that you all have had past lives, whether it's in different star constellations or here on Earth or in in angelic realms. If you're attracted to this and you're watching this, unless you just believe you're a meat suit and then you die, and good luck with that. But I have had past lives, and you may have too, or you've had other types of past lives. So it doesn't make me a special person. I'm just a person that went looking for who I am. Who am I? Why am I here? Okay. And then I found that. And so what I found was that I've had lots of past lives where I lived with wolves, where I worked with herbs, where I actually remember Lemuria. I remember the earth when it was a gentler, more nature-based planet. I remember connecting with like mermaids, if you can believe that, or maybe even being one, but being in water and singing and cooing and doing things like that. I remember lifetimes where I was connected with goddess circles, the circle of Ishtar, who had hundreds and hundreds of goddesses. I'm not saying I was a goddess, but I mean, like many of us were. We just have forgotten who we are because we live in a third dimensional reality, a physical reality that teaches us that our personal empowerment is of no value. And then we get controlled and manipulated by power outside of ourselves. So, okay. So part of what the elementals are doing are here to help us to take back our gifts and our power to know who we are. All guides of light are doing that now. And that's part of the big shift that we're all going through. But back to what I was saying about the sisterhood of Ishtar, I always have loved the early morning sun. I've loved the sun. The sun has talked to me when I was a child. And I love getting up in the morning. I'm a morning person, and I remember being the goddess of dawn. Okay. The goddess that welcomed the dawn. I remember being around a lot of little creatures, and I remember what that life felt like. Now, the Lemurian time lasted for a long time here on Earth, but because they didn't set boundaries, it got contaminated. But they were higher Palladian beings that were here to teach humans how to be in harmony, open their hearts, and they taught healing. They did healing. They connected with, the herbs, the animals, the crystals, and lived for a long time in balance like that. What happened was, because change always happens, this kind of warlike, competition, power from outside to manipulate and control, which has not always been here, but been here for a long time, because it wasn't really in that time. But because the Lemurians didn't have strong boundaries, they kind of got contaminated and got spread out. There was like a little flood, not like Atlantis with a big flood and a crash and an earthquake. Now we're experiencing lots of floods and fires because we're going through one of those changes now. We're actually in it now. But back to what I was saying. So I remember just kind of getting in a little canoe and floating out. I remember a lifetime as a healer where I worked in pyramids, and this kind of floodwaters came up and I just kind of floated off. So the Lemurian period lasted for thousands of years. I don't really know how long. I don't know if we counted back then, but it lasted for a long time. And I had several different lifetimes. Actually, the lifetime where I had with wolves was after that. But one of the things that happened to me that's interesting, and I've told this story before, is that I used to be a dog groomer, and I loved animals, and but I got this rash on my arms, and I kept going to different doctors to like, what is wrong with me? Why can't anybody tell me what this is? And finally, one doctor came in and his mouth dropped open. And this happens to me a lot with medical diagnosis, because I'm just kind of, I'm not like, I'm unusual or weird. So the doctor's mouth was hanging open and he was like that. I'm like, what's wrong? What happened? And he goes, this can't happen. And I'm like, what can't happen? And he goes, you have dog mange. And I was like, what? He goes, you can't have that. The tests say you have dog mange. So I've always loved dogs. I've been around dogs. And once I recognized that, it just kind of went away by itself. Sometimes when you recognize something of like why your body is trying to show you something, is because your soul is trying to remember who you are, needs to recognize something. Okay. So anyway, so that happened, and I said the sun spoke to me, and I just was always really connected. I knew intuitively to like eat really healthy food and be connected to herbs. Like I told you about the essential oils, crystals, I was connected with and have been, not as much maybe as people from Atlantis. I don't feel the closeness of Atlantis that much. I don't feel like I enjoyed those lifetimes as much, but I carried with me the connections into this life with the elementals. Now you can make a connection in this life. And maybe if you didn't have one, that's okay. You can still connect with the elementals because they know who you are. They're in the house plants, the crystals, the animals around you, your yard, the parks, the ocean, the beaches, the lakes. They're all around us. We live with them, and many people are incarnated elementals. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the incarnated elementals are party people, musicians, movie stars. They love fun, attention, and partying. They're artists. They're people who love animals. Now, you may not be 100% elemental, but you may have had some past lives where you were connected with that energy. So they're usually really connect with children, because children don't have judgment and beliefs. Children are usually more open to these types of beings, or fairies, or leprechauns, or mermaids. These, we have the Little Mermaid movies. All these movies in Disney are not just made up out of somebody's imagination. They're actually thought forms that have been here for thousands of years. So the elementals used to be here in physical body. They're not now. So it's hard to see them physically. Well, there's a lady who did a book, Tana, somebody who did a book, My Summer with the Leprechauns. And she went off into the rural area of Ireland in the 80s or something. And she actually met and spoke with leprechauns. I don't know if they were solid, but she wrote a book it's a really cool book. If you want to hear her stories, it's pretty amazing. And so The Native Americans know that elementals are real. Irish, they know. They know. Different indigenous cultures know that they're nature spirits, that everything is alive. And we've kind of been brainwashed to think that it's weird. What is she talking about? She's crazy. And that maybe was even true in 2017. I remember telling somebody about this, and he was like, "You lost it." And I'm like, "You're stupid." I really don't. I didn't say call somebody a name, but sometimes I'm thinking that. I'm like, whoo, okay. So there's this big stigma around that. Not as much. People are more open, especially we see the environmental things happening. So the elementals are overseen by angels. Haniel is the angel of the nature spirits. The ascended masters, different indigenous, shamans and medicine women have worked with the nature spirits. We have actually, most of us, all of us have had past lives in realms of fire, or when the earth was just water, or in the earth, rocks, crystals, or ether, air. So most people I look at have had past lives, and they're more, and then you can see that in their astrology chart, like, wow, you have a lot of fire. You're really fiery, kind of get stuff, temper person, or you're very watery, you're very emotional, or you're airy, you're very intellectual. Your mind is going, but we want to bring in some grounding. So you can see that in your astrology chart, but I can also look at that when I do readings with people. I'm like, wow, you're really connected with this or that. So what we want to do is kind of balance ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about the environment. Let's back up. They want me to talk about this. So I speak like an elemental. I'm very eclectic. The energy just comes in. And so I hope you can follow this. For some people who are very linear thinking, it's a little hard to follow. So I apologize for that. But if you stick with me, I tie it all together. Let's go back to the environment. So people have been warned. That's what I was going to talk about. The elementals, and then I'll talk about the environment. Sorry. The elementals used to be here in physical form, and there was a war with the Gauls, and the Gauls won. And the Gauls said to them, either we're going to kill you all, or or you can leave and go into spirit form and be etheric. So they're not here physically. And they chose to go into etheric form. Okay. So back then they could do things like that. So they are no longer here physically very much. Okay. So maybe some hid out and somewhere in Ireland, leprechauns, but I don't know if they could be etheric too. I don't know. Okay. So most of the ones I see, they're see-through. Okay. They have been here. So why is that important to tell that? It's just important to tell about, for some reason, this is tying into the environment. So let me get a sip here. So they have been warning us about the environment and trying to work through activists. Also, elementals work with activists, people who are saving the dolphins or saving the oceans, or environmentalists, or, maybe scientists, maybe not, but really activists. Okay. Scientists may be more angelic or something. Depends on the person. Okay. So they have been warning us about the climate, and star beings and many higher beings that are watching over Earth have tried to prevent what's happening now for decades. Okay. They've tried to bring higher technology, and they have solar and wind and all that. They have. But the oil companies don't like that because they can't make money. And the main old paradigm is to control you with fear or manipulate your thoughts. So, well, I remember I went to a party years ago and this guy was telling me, the oil companies are fine. You're all crazy about the environment stuff. It's not happening. There's no global warming. Oh, rightly. Obviously there is, because look at it. Or you could say, we're all sinners and Jesus is mad. Well, good luck with that. Okay. Jesus actually worked with the elementals, was very connected to the nature spirits. Jesus, Mary Magdalena, many ascended masters, and like I said, shamans and healers and earth-based spirituality, religions. Okay. So they have tried to tell us this was happening. And they've tried to, work with whoever's in control, the people who have the outside control. And some people, have done some things to help the environment, but it's not enough. It's not enough now. Remember on COVID when everything stopped, the air got clear? I mean, there still could be a chance for us. But you talk about economics and you talk about, a prosperous, good life, and you want prices to be lower, and you want your kids to go to school, and you want to retire comfortably, and you want to own your own home. You want to have that? You need an earth that's not on fire or flooding. That's a huge economic catastrophe. We're still dealing with floods and hurricanes from last year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, fires, the illnesses people get from all the chemicals and the smoke and the mold in the house from the, people losing their businesses, their homes, their lives, their health, because we've destroyed the environment. And so the elementals and other beings have pushed back against all this, and they can't do it anymore because we haven't listened. And so here we are. They are freaking pissed. It's not like, I feel like some people go, Mother Nature is attacking us. Well, actually, she will bring the earth, which is also a living being, will bring herself back into balance. Okay. I have no stocks in this, or I'm not trying to make money telling you this. I just love the earth and animals and people, and I want us to come back into balance. Can we? We could, but we are going through some stuff. Today, there are huge, unprecedented fires in LA. Okay. There's going to be earthquakes. Are those natural things that occur? Not like this. The heat, the cold. We've not seen this before. The dead fish, the dead birds, the bird flus, the illnesses are all, the Native Americans foretold this of a time when we become out of balance with nature. They didn't have all these diseases. The Europeans brought all this control from the outside, control and manipulation, dark energy, which brought disease. So the elementals know, they know if you recycle, they know if you are kind. A tree knows if you're going to chop it down, it might fall on your house. They know. They might even prevent you from moving. If you're like, my yard is no spray and not well manicured because it's natural and as it should be. I still can hire, yard workers. I'm not taking away someone's job. Tree trimming. Sometimes you have to move something away from the property, like a tree, if that's your only choice. But cutting down a tree because you want to re-landscape or something, probably not your best choice, because they do affect people. My little elementals here, they like me here. They don't want me to move, so, but they know what I'm thinking. But I used to do acupuncture. I don't do it on clients because I'm not certified, but I used to do it on myself. And I take the acupuncture needles out and I place them in this pretty cup that had this art on it, because I thought I don't want this to end up in a dump and hurt an animal, a sharp needle. And I didn't have a way to protect them. So I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with these? So I put them in a cup. Okay. I live, so no one else was touching it. So, I also, when I use dental floss, I cut it up, or those plastic things that hold, I don't buy bottles, and I only buy glass mostly. I don't buy, but when I used to buy soda or something, I would cut those up so birds don't get their neck stuck on them in a dump or a fish. And I cut up the dental floss so it doesn't get wrapped around a creature at the dump. They know that. How do they know that? Because they know who you are. They see who your soul is. They know what you're doing. They know how you feel. They know what you do. Like I said, they know if you're cruel to animals, if you care about the environment, they know. Now, animals do eat other animals. So if you're hungry, that's different. And I'm not going to get into all that. And I strongly would love to be a vegan. I'm not able to right now. But I have been vegetarian for years and was unable to continue that. But that's a whole, somebody can send me a thing, how do you do that and stay healthy, I'll do it. But I pray over the souls of the animals that I eat. Animals eat animals. So they understand if you are being cruel or if you are just doing it for survival. There's a difference. Anyway, so I had this teacup with these needles in it. And I was out in the backyard and I asked the elementals, because they're the bankers, help me manifest this and let me make an offering. So angels and ascended masters don't need an offering. Elementals do, because they're closer to the earth, and that's just how they roll. Okay. So I knew to say, what would you like? I'd like to make an offering. Please help me with something. So you can do that too. You can go out in your yard or around a tree or in a park, whatever, and ask, please help me, because they're the bankers. They can make things happen. The leprechauns really do know where the pot of gold is. But then they want an offering. So they usually like something shiny or sweet. If you put out chocolate, make sure a pet doesn't get it, because chocolate's toxic for dogs. But if you put something out like a shiny penny or a crystal, make an offering, okay? Or you can ask them, in this case, I asked them, what do you want? And they said they want a cup of tea in that cup that I had in the kitchen with those acupuncture needles in it. And I was like, oh, they know that. Yeah, they do. They know everything about you. Actually, your life from before birth and after birth is being recorded. Everything you think and do and say. And that's more like a guardian angel thing or guide thing. This is more or less like the elementals know you. And so I gave them a cup of tea. I put the needles in something else, but that was their way of letting me know, we see you. We know you. They have known me all my life. When I go out in nature, birds, whether I see them in my mind's eye, an animal, plants, etheric spirits, like when I was a child, they always answer my questions. They always come to me and they show me. Like today, I was going to send a message to somebody. I'm like, is this right? And I went out and there was blue jay, because the message was kind, but it was a boundary, like, no. And so the blue jay was like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, okay, I get you, So they will, if you ask, you can do this too. You can go out in nature. You can start to develop, or maybe you feel like you have one, or maybe you've gotten away from it, or maybe you can leave a comment down in the comment section about your stories with getting messages and connecting with spirit through nature. That's the old way the shamans used to do it. The medicine women, they lived out in nature. They used to commune with the animals. I remember there was a story once, this doctor wanted to heal himself or something. So he went down to South America to live with this tribe, to connect with nature and see what they knew or whatever. And they took him for a walk out in the jungle. And they said, "Do you hear that?" And he's like, "I don't hear anything. It's completely quiet." And they're like, "Exactly. They know your heart is closed and they want nothing to do with you. You're not safe. If your heart is closed, you're not a safe person." They know that. They know if your heart is open, they know who you are. Now, there are some ways to connect with, like, you can Google, like, say a prayer or affirmation. What does it mean if I keep seeing this bird, or if I see this animal, or if I even see a picture or hear about an animal that's in distress? Is there a part of you that's in distress? Is there a plant medicine? You can Google, what does this mean spiritually if I see this? Or you can get the medicine cards. There are books. There's one by, different books that explain. There's one by Dr. Stephen Farmer about what different animal medicine is bringing to you. But you can just Google it. And when you get a definition Googled or from a book or a card, make sure that you're also checking in with yourself. And you can also ask, like a tree or a plant or an animal, why are you here? What are you showing me? What is the reason for your, and there isn't any mistakes. Butterflies are coming around, change. Worms are on the ground, get grounded. There's no mistake. Like, this plant showed up in my yard because I don't spray and I have natural yard. These purple flowers showed up and I'm like, what are these? These things are everywhere. They're prolific. They were taking over the garden. And I Googled them. They're borage and they're for courage. And that's when I was about to get a divorce and I needed courage. So the plants, the weeds in your yard are the herbs that nature, God, if you want to call it goddess, put there to heal you. Stop spraying them, please. We have so much rich, when we go out into our woods and forests, herbs, and here we have dandelions and burdock. And I bought a stinging nettle plant to help with my allergies. And every morning I go out and get stung. Better than allergies. I love it. And so, trees, tree medicine, plant medicine, manifesting. And so I hope that's clear to you what I'm talking about manifesting. Ask and make an offering. And ask and you shall receive. Say, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you have fun. There's one more fun thing they want to say. The elementals, the little fairies or whatever, sometimes the flower fairies are more advanced, but they think humans are hilarious. Like when I'm getting ready to go somewhere and I'm late, I'm like, oh, I'm late. They think it's hilarious. And they'll mock us, like put on the dress backwards and run in circles. For a very important date. So remember to have fun with them. They also do like alcohol and partying and music and art. So, okay, you might connect with animals. The animals see them. The animals are connected with them. The animals know about the elementals. They are them. So, okay, so that's all I wanted to say. So I do these videos. I put them out every Thursday. And I have a membership group that I'm going to be doing live in California. Yeah, I've been doing it 9 a.m. I'm going to try to go on live if I can, but you can join my membership for only like 14 bucks a month now. And you can ask questions and you can be on there where we do healings or developing your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities, and connecting with your guides and angels or your loved ones on the other side. So there's a lot that we're going to be doing that's super fun. So please join us there. Please subscribe if you haven't. It really helps me out. And like and share. Sending you so much love. And have fun with the elementals. Bye for now.